abstract weld-and-free art, I just realized that I haven't done a eco-dyeing video for ages. And so I was thinking about what I could do. You know, there's the usual onion skins and all that, but I've done that one already. So I'm sorry about the hair. It's very puffy. I just did the school run and I don't know why it's all over the place. So I came across this, a red cabbage in the Too Good to Go section at the local grocery store. And that cost me like, I don't know, 50p or something. So it was not a huge expense. And I thought, I have never used red cabbage yet. So I thought it might be fun to make a video to experiment with some red cabbage natural dye. I won't use the whole cabbage. I'll probably freeze the other half for further eco-dyeing experiments and fun in the future. But let's make some cabbage dye and see what we can do with it. First, we get the dye pot. My beautiful car boot find. It's big, it's huge. It should make a big batch of dye, and I can even do some fabric in here, which will be fun because I haven't done that for a while either. And the next step is to chop this baby. So first, I think I'll get rid of that one with the sticker. Okay. And then we're just going to simply cut it in half. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. And then just okay, in it goes. To be fair, it looks good enough to eat still, this one. All right, and now fill it up with some water. Quite a bit because I have quite a lot of cabbage. And I want to do fabrics, as you can see. Look, it's already starting to kind of go purpley blue. That's cool. Okay, it's on the stove. I don't have a lid that's the right size, so I used a cookie sheet instead. Now we're going to let it simmer and extract as much as we can from it. And once it's reached the desired color, I'll pull out a sample and we'll have a play. Oh, we're starting to get a simmer. And let's have a look. We're getting some color yet. Oh, wow. Now, wouldn't that be something if it stayed like that, huh? That's amazing. But we want to extract a bit more out of this. So I'm going to lower it and just leave it to simmer for about half an hour or so, and then we can get to start playing. Okay, we are back. I let it also sit and cool for a little while because, yeah, it was pretty steaming hot. So I've grabbed a cup of the cabbage dye, and I've made little information sheets. So I'm trying it on paper first. So I've got some different modifiers on here. And then I have my fabrics, and we'll do some color swatches with those, even though when and if I dye using those, I will obviously be leaving it to soak for a bit longer. Our first test which is just the cabbage by itself on paper. Let it sit in there for a minute or so. Something's coming. Okay, so that's what it comes out looking like right now. Don't know if you can see. That's a nice kind of gray blue color. And the next thing we have is baking soda, which is bicarbonate of soda, also known as. So I'll just get a little bit because we're just doing a small tester anyway. And let's pour some in. Ooh, that looks green. Look at the turquoisey green blue that comes out with that. That's nice. Okay. So red cabbage and baking soda. I do like that color of turquoise. That's really nice. Doesn't seem to show much, but of course, when it dries and it's soaked a bit more, it'll probably be better. But I'll put it here for now. So that's what we have for now. Okay. Then I have lemon to try. We have our blue. So lemon's an acidic, so we'll see what happens. In theory, it should go purple, I think. Yes. Yes, it does. Look at that. How amazing. Science, eh? So lemon, pink, very cool. Can't see much on the paper, but we'll leave it another second. In the meantime, we will add some vinegar. So regular white vinegar, spirit vinegar, whatever you call it. This is also another acidic. So it should turn a similar color. Ooh, more purple. Nice. So that's the color it's turned with the vinegar. Pop that in. We'll see how our lemon juice is doing. Okay, we'll put that there. And the vinegar. Leave that another minute or so. In the meantime, we can have a play with some fabric swatches. So I just want to cut 2 little squares from, you can see where I've done this already. From this one is with the soy as a mordant. So I pre-prepared this fabric with soy. So it was scoured and then soaked in soy mordant and prepared. So my thingy says, let's find the ones with the soy mordant. Soy and soy. So I decided to do 1 normal and 1 baking soda. But I could also do 1 in vinegar. So we'll do a little vinegar one and then we'll make a little paper for it. Yeah. And we can just do lemon. Let's just do it all for fun. 4. So we're going to pop 1 in the lemon, 1 in the baking soda. We'll take out the paper. Okay. Pop 1 in there and 1 in there. Obviously, when I do this, I would of course be wetting the fabric and leaving it to soak a goodly amount of time and all sorts, but just for testing. So this is just with the baking soda. That looks lovely. I like how the soy takes the color a bit more. And then we have just the plain here, which is a little less on the turquoisey green, so we're more blue-gray. Here we are. And I'm just going to grab a piece of paper to do the other ones. Okay. So this one is cotton with red cabbage and lemon plus soy mordant. Okay. So this one here was the lemon one. Oh, so bright. Amazing. Okay. And then this one here is on cotton. All right. Dripping everywhere. It's a bit softer, but I still like it. Okay, I'll set this to the side. So we've done our soy. Now let's have a look at copper. So what I did with this one was I mordanted it with copper. I put it in a copper bath. When I scoured it, I need to find a corner. A corner. Come here, corner. This looks like it's cuttable. Okay, so I'm going to get 4 little bits. Naturally has a kind of a blue tinge to it. So we'll see how it goes. Pop that in, pop that in, pop that in, and pop that in. Give it a good stir. So this is just the plain red cabbage. We've gone darker blue, which I kind of expected. Whereas just red cabbage and copper here. Lovely. It's gone just a darker blue, slightly. Okay. And we have the baking soda, which still gives us a little bit more turquoisey green. So that's really nice, like so. Then I'll show you them all compared. Vinegar. Lovely pink color. And then last but not least, lemon. Just quite nice. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this empty one that we never used, and I'll put these all here, so maybe you can actually see all the colors together. And that's that one. Okay, making progress. So the next one we have is iron. So I put this in a rust water bath after I scoured it. And that hopefully should make things go quite a bit darker. We will see what happens. One, two, 3, and 4. Okay. I'm definitely seeing some darker colors. Let's see, just plain red cabbage. Definitely will need probably more time to soak in, but we have a very dark kind of brown actually to it, which is not what I expected. Okay, and the baking soda. I mean, I expected darker colors, but not like kind of brown. This does have a green tint, but again, it's kind of muddy looking, so not too keen on how the iron is reacting. But again, as I said, it's not, you're the vinegar, I hope. That's lemony. Okay, lost track. So this is the vinegar. Okay, we've got a kind of peachy, well, it's still pinkish, but orangey? Interesting. Very interesting. And then the lemon. Ooh, I think I like the way the lemon has it. It's kind of like a pinky peach color. Look at that. Very cool. All right. And now the final one, alum. Now, alum usually just makes things a bit brighter and longer lasting. So I am not expecting too much in the way of like a color change. Now, the thing about red cabbage is it's well known to not be very color fast. So I am unsure as to how long these colors will last, on the papers especially. The fabrics have some mordants, which should help the color last a little bit longer. But I don't really have the mordant on the paper. Though I do quite like the way the soya is, and I have soy milk, so I might try just running the papers through a soya and water mixture before putting them in the color and see if that will help it last longer. So we'll see what happens, because I really love the color of that soy on the cotton. It's amazingly cool green color. So yeah, but anyways, let's get back to it, shall we? So first step, we have our cotton just by itself. So we see there's not really much of a color change. It's a lovely blue color, but it's kind of as I expected it. Baking soda, oops. Again, we've got this lovely green. Okay. Nice. And then we have the vinegar, which has this purpley pink. Lovely, lovely color. And lemon, which has a more pinkish color. Lovely. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these all to dry. And in the meantime, I might start preparing some papers, fabrics, or whatever to start dyeing for the rest of the afternoon with some batches. And then I'll come back. I'll show you what these ones look as they are drying, once they're dry. And then I will show you what I have done, and we'll see what the final results are when everything is dry. Hello. So it's now 2 days later. I kind of sort of ended up in a rabbit hole of epic proportions where I basically dyed a bunch of fabric, a bunch of papers. I went completely all out with every combination I could possibly think of. So I am going to give you a quick share of my discoveries, and then, we'll take it from there. So fabrics first, because there's fewer of them. So I found this very interesting. Clearly, red cabbage is very, very pH sensitive, because when I did the test dip, as soon as I put it onto the paper, for this one here, for example, with the vinegar, which is acidic, so it was kind of like a purpley color. And then as soon as I put it on the paper, it changed color, which means that my swatch is nothing like the actual color that came out. So you've got this really gorgeous blue color. This is alum and red cabbage on cotton. And it's just absolutely stunning. And then again, the same thing happened. So again, this is with vinegar and the red cabbage. I used soy on that one, you see, and it's green because it touched the paper, but the actual fabric came out like a lilac or lavender color. Absolutely beautiful. So it's so interesting how the colors changed. Again, this one here was just the cabbage by itself with the soy. And this one didn't change all that much. It looks pretty much identical to the edges. This part here where it touched the paper when I put it down, that changed. But the rest of it is like this very pale mint green color. So pretty. This one didn't do too much changing, although some of it here you could see the yellow that where it touched the paper, but it stayed pretty much blue. This was with alum as a mordant. The alum really makes the colors darker and richer, which is really lovely. And this is baking soda with soy. Again, pretty much stayed this nice green, soft mint kind of color with more yellowish undertones. This one came out different. This is alum again with the baking soda instead of the soy. And although this one turned out more yellowish, here it's still that kind of bluey green color, which as I say, I always find these surprises absolutely fascinating. Here we had the lemon and with soy, and you could see where it touched the paper, it kind of went purpley colored and it was this pink color. Well, in the end, it came out pinky purple. Not as bright and vibrant as it did on the swatch, but it came out pretty good. Anyway, I still love that color. And then this completely different, again, we're with lemon, and we had alum. And on this one, it was green because it touched the paper. And again, we have this lovely purple kind of color. I don't know if it shows that well on the screens. Then just before we go to the iron ones, here we have the copper mordants. I think all of these ones are, all of these are copper. So again, we have the same surprise with the swatch. This is where it touched the paper, this is where it didn't, and it came out with this lavendery purple color. This came out very yellowish, and this one actually came out like a cool mint green again. And then this is the vinegar one where we have some purple and just the plain. We have this lovely green, which is funny because that's what it came out as here. So all of these, I absolutely like. Just look, isn't that spring in a bundle of fabric? Just gorgeous, just too much. The iron, so the rust water was, yeah, kind of disappointing. I won't lie. I mean, I'm loving the grunge. It definitely gave me all the grungy vibes. So it's like army green, even though the swatch was bright yellow. It's hilarious. So we've got like grungy army green, and instead of this pink color, we have more gray and grungy, maybe more bluey gray. And then here we have some blue. But again, it's still in that kind of grayish tones. And then this is just the plain one. This one was true to its color. And yeah, just kind of these green grays, but extra points for the grunge on these ones. So the one thing about red cabbage, and this is sad, is that the color isn't permanent. So eventually, all of these beautiful colors will probably fade to a kind of gray-green kind of color. So the pinks and the purples, the vibrant blues. So sadly, a lot of this color will be lost, although some of it will still be there, I think. But it'll just be very much faded. So I'm going to photograph or scan these before they lose their color. And I'm going to do the same with the papers as well. Because, well, my favorite papers, because I did a lot of paper. Yeah, just to have them on record and stuff like that. And then I'm going to put some of these in the swatch books, in my swatch book once I get it back, and see how it fades and stuff. It's all part of the learning experience, but it was really good fun. It was like a live-in science experiment. And instead, hold on here. This is the red cabbage and the lemon on the paper. Now, if you remember, the color was actually pink when we had the liquid. And on the papers, it went completely bluey green. So depending on the paper, it actually came out slightly different. So this one is regular copy paper. This is notebook paper. This one here was just like an envelope. No, wait. No, this is my paper blinds. So that came out quite interesting. Again, this is another piece of paper blinds. This is another piece of big envelope, and this is mixed media paper. So it's pale, it's simple, it's lovely. But one of the things I wanted to experiment was, because I happen to have soy milk in the fridge, and with the fabric, the soy came out quite a little bit more brighter than just the thing by itself. So what I did was I actually made a soy and water mixture, and I dunked some of the papers in that first just to see what would happen. And the difference is, well, in some cases, pretty impressive. So these ones are the same thing, soy and lemon. And with this one here came out really awesome. This is a mulberry paper, and I just absolutely love this random pattern that came out of it. Some parts took the dye better than others. This is just from an old photo album that was falling apart. Again, this is the same as this. This is the mixed media paper, so it looks more or less the same. The lined paper didn't make much of a difference, but these ones came out quite fun. This is just copy paper, and actually, this is the blinds. But the blinds and the copy paper actually came up with quite a difference between them. So let me just compare. Here's normal copy paper here. So also being on the top of the tray and getting the heat, because I bake my papers when I do it, that made a bit of a difference as well. So those were fun to experiment with. All right, so the next one I have is just the red cabbage on its own. There we go. So that was the swatch, and these are the papers that came out. This is just a mixed media paper. One of the lined papers came out absolutely amazing, whereas the other kind of a lined paper that came from a different book looks almost just plain and like, except for the edge, you'd never know. How weird. And again, this is just copy paper. This was nice. This came out a bit green. Some more copy paper. I did quite a bit. This is that blinds, paper blinds paper. That one came out really interesting. It really does a great job of taking dye, I won't lie. This is again an envelope, see, that the magazines come in. And then this one here is the mixed media paper, which somehow also went yellow. So it must mean it has like a base in it of some kind. And again, this is the same papers with dipped in soy, and the difference on this one is pretty impressive. I mean, look at how dark that came. This is just the newspaper, and then again, the mulberry. How cool is that? Just love the pattern that came out. And this is the mixed media paper. This pink is from the Post-it note. I got excited for a minute there, but it's not. Sadly, from anything to do with the dye. So that's these ones. And then here we've gone for base. I've done baking soda, and they've actually gone quite yellow. I was expecting more green, but they went yellow, which is interesting because the liquid was green. This definitely taught me that the liquid is not exactly what paper is going to take. It's really fascinating. I know I've said it about 100 times, but yeah. So we've got lined paper, and that took really lovely to the dye. We've got copy paper. That one kind of got destroyed, which also took the dye fairly well. I'm pretty pleased. The paper blinds took it nicely. Feels like Easter. Really lovely. The envelope took it well, and the mixed media paper really took it well. I love how that one came out. It's really deep. And then in comparison, we have the baking soda with the soy dip, and it went really a lot darker, but still yellow. So this is the mulberry mixed media. Actually, it didn't go as well, but the printer paper. Or is this the... I don't know if this is the paper blind. No, I think this is just printer paper. So this is printer paper. Took it really nice. This paper took it really well as well. This is the blind. Sorry, they somehow got stuck together. The blind didn't take it as well as I thought it would in this case, the paper blind. But it's so funny how just the different kind of paper completely changes how the dye gets picked up. And then last but not least, we have the red cabbage with vinegar. So we've added acidic. Again, the liquid was like a purple color, and we got blues, bluey greens. So again, they're pale, they're subtle, but they're still quite nice. I love the spots that I get with my baking dish. I like the pattern. And then this is the mixed media paper, which came out all right. And then enter the soy, and we have beautiful dark papers again. So we've got our mulberry, and the mixed media paper really took it nicely. And then we have the others, which didn't make much of a difference, really. Although it was better with the paper blind. So, yes, very subtle colors. And then after it experimented with all the combinations, I had a lot of liquid left over. And so I decided to just have some fun. So these are the ones that I did. I'll try and remember what I did with them. Sorry, just wanted a sip of tea there. I'll try and remember what I did with them. I really just played around with what I had in the house. So here I just dipped these. I think this one was the regular one. And I just laid them on my cupcake tin. And I love the circle patterns that came out. This was just, again, I just put them in the oven, just laid them out. I don't think I did anything different with these ones. This one was on the cupcake tin as well, but it was on top. And I just love how it baked the color onto it really nicely. This was another one. It was on the bottom. I didn't even put dye on it. I just laid it on the bottom and it did that. This one, I sprinkled baking soda on top. And we got some green here and the blue, and I do love the pattern that came out on that one. Again, a bit of sprinkling on top, and we have some green bits that came out. So it did actually change color. Here we go. When I did sprinkle it directly on, but not when I used the liquid itself. I don't remember what I did with that one. This one, I think I tried salt on this. Oh, no, I had some flower petals. See, you can see the pattern. I don't know if you can see it here. Yeah, I started sprinkling some flower petals on there just to see what would happen. And I did get a little bit of color from the flower petals. And then I had a huge stash of onion skin, and I just went crazy with the onion skins. So I started sprinkling onion skin, sprinkling salt, dipping it in and out, and just, yeah, had some fun. I like the blue and the green. I like the grunge that came out with the blue hints in the background. I think it's really cool. I like how that one came out. Some of these patterns are really nice. And then at the very end, and I'll show you, I just made some bundles where I just threw all of the leftover dye together and rolled up the papers and just threw them in the pot to see what would happen. And it came out like a gray sludge, but actually it dyed pretty interesting. Again, this was on the cupcake tin with a little bit of onion. And I think I also sprinkled baking soda because we've got some green on there and the blue. And this is the paper blinds. This one didn't do much. It's practically white, but I got some onion pattern here. This one came out really cool. Look at the yellows. I think I sprinkled paprika on this as well, possibly. I did sprinkle paprika on one of them. This one came out interesting. I love how this one came out. This one came out really cool. I think this one was salt. I put salt on it, and this one was on the top, so it really dried out and absorbed things differently. These ones were baking soda ones, I think. That one came out really cool. And then I had some dried oranges left from my Christmas decorations, and before throwing them in the compost, of course, I had to give it a go. So I layered the papers that were dipped in the solution with some of these orange slices, and they also had some like star anise and cinnamon on them. Cinnamon and star anise didn't do anything. However, the acidity in the orange actually gave me some pink and it stayed. So it must have like really absorbed that orange juice, let's call it, and taken it on. Now it only did it with this one, but I think it was pretty cool. The others were very, very subtle. Yeah, this one's just like kind of greenish. This is definitely a baking soda one. This one I threw some onion in there. I think this was one of the bundles that I made and just threw into the pot. And I also like sprinkled, this is the paprika I sprinkled on top just to get, I don't know if you can see, some detail. This is definitely baking soda, I can feel it. Baking powder maybe, I think? I don't remember. I just threw random stuff on them, I won't lie. And then this one was cool because I also put flower petals on as well as the onion. And I got some really interesting patterns on there. I do love a good eco-dye session, I won't lie. Again, this is the paprika, left little spots, which is interesting. That was a flower. And this is where I started just throwing them and chucking them in and just, yeah, kind of, I love the patterns that you can see from the different things. It's just all good fun, really. Another one here. These ones were just, I think I just put paprika, maybe a couple petals on that one. That's paprika again. I love the little spots it leaves. This one, I think this one was one that I boiled and it came out really funky. It also kind of disintegrated because it was normal copy paper, but it came out really cool. This is nice as well, kind of grayish, but we've also got some orange in there from the flower petals, which was really nice. That one didn't do very much. This one came out really nice. I absolutely love this. Love it. This one has the lines from the string where it was wrapped because this was the outside paper on the roll. This one came out with some blue tones in it as well. Just love it. And this one's super grunge. This is the paprika. And unfortunately we got a hole, but I just love the colors. So that is my red cabbage dye experiment. Again, because I know a lot of these colors are going to fade, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan them, some of my favorite ones, and that way I have them as a digital to print if I want. And if there's any interest, I can also pop the digitals in the store if you want. And yeah, and that way you can have some too. Let me know what you think, and have you tried dyeing with red cabbage before? How were your results? I would really love to know. Just let me know in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this somewhat, what I think is going to be a rather long video, please consider subscribing to the channel and interacting with it, as every little bit helps and helps me keep bringing this content to you. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy creating. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.